Race, spinning the curve like I'm a weight. They pull out cameras, they cannot wait.
No More Sleep Game Script is all about helping you with your week-to-week fantasy football lineups. Rather than paying attention to things like individual players, we look at game script because coaches don't get injured. So what you want to do is pay attention to the numbers that we tell you. We're going to tell you the strengths and weaknesses based on how the defenses perform recently as well as last year. We'll bake in the strengths of the offenses, and then we'll basically tell you, okay, here are the stats or the metrics that you want to pay attention to from your players. And then you make a smart decision and an informed decision on who to start and who to sit. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Steelers side of the matchup between the Seahawks and the Steelers in Week 2, 2019. Now, there are three conclusions when it comes to the Steelers side of the ball. The first is that the Seahawks defensive line is probably going to be better this year than it was last year. Last year, they allowed the highest rushing average of 4.9 and also allowed one of the most receptions of 20 plus, and part of that was because of the lack of pressure. Now, this year, it seems to be completely opposite. They've addressed a lot of the issues through the offseason. In Week 1, if it's a tell of what is expected to come, you can expect the Seahawks to be completely demolishing quarterbacks this year. In Week 1, they had 5 sacks and 3 forced fumbles, which is insane. So the defensive line, mostly credited to those guys for causing havoc. Now, Steelers have one of the best offensive lines, but they did lose Mike Munchak, the coach behind the genius. So we have seen in Week 1 there are some concerns with that offensive line. So that being said, against the Seahawks defense like this and with some shakiness on the offensive line from the Pittsburgh Steelers side, there are two things you want to pay attention to from the running back piece. The first is rushing average. So you need a running back who knows how to get his rushing average up, whether that be through juke rate, creating yards, running people over, whatever it is. You need a high rushing average. The second thing you want to look at is going into how they got that rushing average. So obviously you'll take a high rushing average period against the Seahawks. But what makes it even more likely for this individual to be successful is if they also have a high run block efficiency. All right. So honestly, anything above 62%, you can't expect that across the board for running backs. But basically, run block efficiency is that the running back know how to be efficient with the blocks that they have, and you need that against the Seahawks. So that being said, there is no clear example as to who to start if you're trying to choose between Jaylen Samuels and James Conner just from those metrics alone, because they both are pretty much the same in run average and run block efficiency. Jaylen Samuels is a little bit better at the run block efficiency piece, and James Conner is a little bit better in the rushing average piece. One can argue that that's because of the snap share differences. James Conner has a ton more snap share. So if both had 50% snap share and it was only those two players on the roster, there's no one else that we're talking about from the running back department in the Steelers, we would say Jaylen Samuels would be the person who have the higher success rate against the Seahawks. Now, again, we don't tell you what players to start. We gave you the stats. Things can change. So what you want to do is just pay attention to the stat and then compare the situation that you're in as far as other guys that you could be starting. Compare them, compare their situation versus James Conner or Jaylen Samuels' situation, and then make an informed decision there. Now, on the receiver side of the ball, there are three things that you want to look for to be successful against the Seahawks. The first is you want a receiver who is accustomed to having receptions of 20-plus yards or more. You want a receiver who can make contested catches, and you want a receiver whose air yards are 4.7 or more. The person who typically matches that is Juju Smith-Schuster, so he should have a better game this week than he had last week. But we will also not be shocked if Vance McDonald had a good game this week because he also matches up well with those metrics. That being said, again, we're not telling you who to start. The ideal here is do the same exercise for the other guys that you have on your bench, and then try to make an informed decision. Obviously, with tight ends being pretty slim, maybe the Vance McDonald thing is something that will be comparable to other tight ends that you might have. If Vance is the only guy you got right now, this is probably a good game to gamble on with him. Again, Seahawks defense is looking pretty decent, so I would look for more favorable matchups if I have it available. But if it's not available, the two ball catchers out of the Pittsburgh Steelers roster that has the metrics to be successful is Juju and Vance. James Washington, Dante Moncrief, you need to do the same exercise. They all have something there. You just need to do the exercise and figure out, okay, of the three, is it 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, and then do the same exercise with the other guys. I'm stressing this a lot on this game because this is a game that I think will end up being the game of the week at the end of the day. So we expect some people to be concerned about this one. So no more sleep game script.
Get it, go get it, I got it. Get it, go get it, I got it. Get it, go get it, I got it.